everybody. This is Kate from Darn Good Yarn, and in honor of Earth Day, I figured I would show up and show you guys how to make some flowers with some oil pastels, because we've gone over acrylic painting. I know my friend Colleen just did a really cool geode watercolor tutorial, and I figured let's do some oil pastels. So when I was trying to set this up, I was trying to think of what to make, and I figured that we could do some flowers for Earth Day. And I was trying to think of what's a flower that everyone would kind of recognize and know what the general shape is. And I was going through TikTok actually, and I saw this video from a zoo. I forget which zoo it was, but every year they plant something like thousands of tulips. And the people that are still there feeding the animals did like a little walkthrough of all these tulips. So I figured we could do a tulip tutorial. So this is going to be really easy. A tulip is pretty much a U, and then we're going to put a rim on it like that. So it's kind of going to be like a wine glass. And right now I'm also going to take a light green and make a little stem. And tulips have very thin, delicate stems. And you guys don't have to do the colors I'm doing. This is just, I like purple and pink and white. But I've seen tulips that are red, that are like all these crazy colors. All right, so to make this easy, we're gonna put our, can you see past my hand? Let's do a little left hand action. You're gonna take your pastel, and these kind of feel like crayons a little bit. And if you have crayons, you can do this as well. It won't blend as easy, but crayons are pretty good. So you're going to take the point, so where like the rim of the glass is, and you're going to draw it into the center, just like that. And then you're going to do the same on this side. Remember, they don't have to be even, because never have I ever seen an even flower in nature. Then what you're going to do is, I should probably do this with my correct hand, just trying to make sure you guys can see. You're going to draw a little third leaf right in the middle like that. And then what you're going to do is in these empty spaces, you're going to draw two more little bumps. So there's going to be the two side petals, the middle petal, and these two back petals. So what I like to do is after I do those two back petals, I like to make this petal a little bigger. All right, so depending on what color you're using for your flower, and also if you're using a reference picture, don't be afraid to look up a reference picture to see where the colors are. I've seen some tulips that the darker shade is on the outside and it's lighter on the inside. It really depends on what you want your flower to look like. I want this to be kind of realistic, but I want it to be really funky looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this dark purple all around the bottom border of this leaf. Maybe up a little bit of the center, because you want a little bit of a difference between the leaves. Like you don't want it all to mush together. And then I think a really pretty inside color would be this pink. I have a few different colors, but I don't have any light purple. And I'll use this pink. Same pink, but this one's a little bit of a bigger stalk to it. I'm just gonna gingerly put in a little pink in there. I don't want too much pink on the outside petals, because the outside petals I think are gonna be the darkest. And as I go into the flower and do these petals, they're going to be a little more pink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the white and I'm going to fill in all through here. But then I'm going to take that purple again and go over it. Just gently, because I want this to be kind of darker on the outside. Also, for any of you guys that are really familiar with the color wheel, if you're trying to make a shadow that looks really realistic, what you're gonna do is you're gonna look up the color wheel and you're going to use the opposite color on the color wheel to make the shadow. So if, I'll show you this with the leaves. The opposite of green on the color wheel is red. So if you want to make a realistic looking shadow, you'd use red. So I'm going to use green just to lay down the stem. And tulips have really pretty like twirly leaves, so I'm just going to do a little bit of a twirly leaf right here. And then I'm just going to color this side in light green. I'm going to take this dark green and I'm going to give it a little bit of a shadow. Of course, like if you have something where you have two different colors, awesome. But if you don't, you can take the red in, you can lay that down. And trust, it's gonna look a little weird now, but trust me, when this blends, it's gonna look really cool. The first time I ever tried using the opposite of the color wheel to mix a shadow color was when I was in art school and my art teacher was showing us how to draw people in real life. And I always thought it was kind of cool because, you know, your first reaction when you're drawing a skin tone is, you know, skin tone colors. And she told me, like, no, people have, like, undertones of blue and purple and green and yellow. And, like, it's really crazy layering colors to get different shades. So, just going to lay that color down. And don't worry, we'll get back to blending the leaf later. I just wanted to throw that down there. All right, so let's put some color on this inside leaf right here. So I think I'm gonna do, actually for shadow, I'm gonna take some blue here and I'm gonna add a little bit of blue, maybe put a little blue up the sides to really differentiate the leaves or the petals. So I'm gonna take some pink and put a little bit of pink in here. Put a little bit of purple, and then the rest of this is going to be a really pretty pink. Put a little bit of white in there, but not a lot. Maybe a little bit of purple. That's one of the things that I like about oil pastels is it's hard to take it away. What you have to do is if you draw something and you don't like it and you want to pull it away, you have to wait for the oil pastel to kind of dry. I know that sounds really weird, but they do get to a point where they do like dry. And what I used to do all the time is I would be frustrated at a project, I'd leave it alone probably for like 24 hours and I'd come back with like a metal kitchen spoon and I'd be able to kind of scrape it off the paper. All right. So the opposite on the color wheel of purple is like a greenish yellow. So I have one of those here. And I'm just going to use that like that to get a little bit of a funky shade up the leaf. All right. And the advice that I'm going to give you for blending is you're going to take the lightest color in the mixture and use that to blend. So down here, the lightest color is the dark purple, you know, in comparison to the indigo. And you're just going to press a little harder than you were before to blend the color together. And then as you go up into the pink is the lighter color, so you're going to switch to that. And you can see how the colors blend all nicely together. If your colors aren't blending together that nicely, it might be the pressure, like the pressure that you're using with your hand. It could also be, and this is really weird, but if your house is really cold, I've found that it's hard to blend. I've seen people like put their oil pastels on like a hot plate, like they'll put like boiling water on just like a regular plate, and then they'll use that to kind of keep it warm. All right, so now in here is where we layered that white. We're gonna go in with the white. And remember, you can always add color in. So like, I'm noticing right now that the tip of this tulip, like the tip of this petal, is a little too light for the outside. So we can go back in with this purple and blend it, you know, to add a little more color, add a little more depth to it. Because this is supposed to be the outside of the tulip. She's got to be bright. All right, that's looking pretty good. And we're going to do the same thing to that side too. I'm going to go a little bit quicker this time, just because you guys have kind of already seen that. And you can see how the green that we added in there kind of faded to like a really natural looking shadow. I would tell you that unless you have black in your reference photo or in the flower that you want to do, I would avoid black as a shadow color. That's like one of the really big mistakes that we make in art school, is because, you know, your brain just tells you like, oh yeah, like black's the background, you know, the outline, the shadow of everything. And it's like, no, totally wrong. It's gonna make things look cartoony and chunky and outline-ish. And unless that's what you're going for, awesome. But if you're going for like a kind of realistic looking picture, it's best to avoid it. All right. That's blending together really nicely. All right, so now I'm gonna go in on the inside. So I'm gonna take my pink. I'm just gonna blend, blend, blend. I have seen really special tools that you can get online that will help you blend. For me, I'm simple, and I know that if I ever got one of those tools, I would immediately lose it. So I just like to blend the way I was taught, with the lightest color. I'm going to take the white up towards the top. And I don't know why, but for me, it feels easier to pull the dark colors up, like pull the dark up, and then to take the white and pull it down. Maybe that's just my weird little like drawing quirk, but that's just me. Right, I'm gonna put some dark purple up here. And you guys can like follow this tutorial and maybe just change the colors. You know, if you want to do, I've seen some really pretty yellow and orange tulips when I was watching that zoo video. So you guys could do that. That was pretty cool. All right. So these two leaves back here, I want them to be really light. So I'm just gonna color them in with white, because I want them to be nice and dainty. Because they're kind of further away. Like if you were looking at this, the petals that are the darkest, they would be the ones that are closest to you. All right. We got to give them a little bit of depth to it, so we can put a little shadow in there. Little shadow there. Let's add a little violet in there, because why not? Who's going to stop us? You know what I mean? Give up that art fear. Just do what you want. Just make sure to blend it in so it doesn't look like a harsh line. And we can go back over this line, because remember the petals, like the leaves, are overlapping. That's a pretty good tulip if I do say so myself. Now for the leaf. So we've put our light green, our dark green, our red in here, and a little bit of yellow. So I'm going to take this light green that I used for the majority of it, kind of like the base color, same how I use the purple for the base color. The only bad thing about oil pastels is when you get to the nub, you have to like peel them like little oranges. And we're just gonna blend. I'm trying to get this at an angle so that you can see the blending, instead of just watching my hand move and then my hand moves and you get to see the finished product. Oops. And I know I didn't have a lot of red here, but see that line, how it makes like that really natural like flow of the flower? That's all from the red. All right. All right, now you guys can kind of really see it. really see this in action. All right, so this half of the leaf, I'm envisioning like the sun's hitting here. That's why I kind of wanted the darker along the bottom, maybe a little bit along the side. Now I wanted that to be a little bit like where the shadow is coming from. So then this side is gonna really be the shadow, this side of the leaf. Let's make sure you guys can actually see. All right, I'm gonna start blending. And it's gonna look a little funky, and I might just switch over to the darker green. It's a little more of an unnatural green, but I think I need a little bit more of it. Maybe a little bit more red too. I don't know what it is, but sometimes these greens, like these grass greens, are just very unnatural looking to me. Same thing like, you know, like the watercolor sets that you can buy at the store. The bright green in that is so nauseating and not natural looking. Anytime you draw trees or flowers with it, they come out looking very unrealistic. Unless you mix some blue and white and yellow in there. So it takes a little bit of a blending, but you can already see the shadow color starting to form. And it is a little cold in my house, so you are starting to see this one oil pastel giving me a little bit of a fight, but they should warm up as you're like rubbing them on the page and you're holding them in your hand. Make that leaf a little longer. There we go, that's pretty. All right, and that is pretty much it. That is how you use oil pastels to make a tulip. Obviously you can do any other colors. I've seen tulips that have like so many leaves everywhere. This was just a quick little tutorial drawing. If you guys have any questions, please hit us up at info@darngoodyarn.com. We'd be happy to help. All right, guys. See you later. Bye.